Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Couple things. First, ignore the Christmas stuff. Second, I am in the middle of filming an Amazon nail video today. This is where we're at with that, so I'm just gonna need you to ignore that. Thank you. And what was the other disclaimer I had to give? Okay, so I've been putting off making this video forever simply because I had to finish the book in order to make the video. But I finally got there this morning, actually. And I've never done a book review on my channel before. This is a first, but I love diversity and I love all things lifestyle and all that. So we're doing a book review today. He's supposed to be napping, but I also didn't want screaming and wailing in the background of my videos. Where do we start? So yeah, we're doing a book review on Parenting Scripts by Amber, Leah, and Wendy Speake. This is a very much so worth it book, and that's why I'm gonna take the time to do the review today. So this is a faith-based book, meaning the authors are women of faith. This is kind of based off God's word. Could you take something from the book not being a believer? I would definitely say yes. I'm very open-minded, so thank you, bud. But ultimately, especially as you get to the last chapters and the epilogue, like ultimately it's gonna point you in the direction of God-based parenting, I guess. Now this is like a workbook book, which is also super hands-on, super inviting. There are pages for your own writing, your own scripts. Towards the end of the book, I'm not gonna lie, I stopped writing the scripts. I would more just like, well, I stopped writing in the workbook part. I would start making little notes on the page that I was reading if I had something to say. And you know, that's fine. It's just whatever you feel, whatever suits you best. I don't know where to start. I'm sorry, this is hard. I never did this before. I'll read you guys a little snippet from the back of the book. You want to say the right thing when your children do wrong. Trouble is most parents aren't sure where to even begin. Parenting Scripts is the much needed resource for moms and dads who are desperate to speak life to their children instead of defaulting to the same old words and ineffective consequences. Focusing on the most ordinary and yet troublesome areas in our daily routines, Parenting Scripts helps parents to craft intentional, well-thought, and prayed-over words. Side note, I felt from reading this that this book was very pro-gentle parenting, and I'm pro-gentle parenting even though I don't always do it the best, and I'm not always a gentle parenter. That's what I strive to be. What's up?
The kitten got on the couch itself.
Oh, yay. I think that's a real upside of this book, and I think that's the one reason that a lot of mothers and fathers could take from it is because this isn't like some heavy consequence book saying like go spank your children with the board. No, it's like very pro, like get to the root of things, talk it out, be patient, take that thing you were gonna say, think about it for a second, switch it around, and say it in a more effective, better way. On a personal level, sorry, there's like blankets on the couch. We're on Christmas break right now, so. So on a personal level, this book was gifted to me by my mother. She was very persistent that I take it and that I read it, obviously. I started reading this book back in the spring. I want to say April or May. It's now December and I just finished it because I think I had like a period of time where I wasn't getting into it that much. You know, if you do a chapter a day, you can literally finish it in a month. But for me, it took like 8 months. It's not that I was at a bad place parenting, but I definitely was having my days where my reactions to things got the best of me and I just would feel like an awful person. One of the main themes throughout this book is not giving up. I mean, what choice do we really have, honestly, as parents? To fully just give up would be a very dark path. So this is so pro, like, try again, try again, try again. You'll get it right eventually. And honestly, that's one of the biggest things I've taken from this because even before reading this, one of my like life mottos has been keep it pushing no matter what, just keep it pushing. And this reminds us not to give up, trying to handle the situation better, be more patient. It's every single day working at it. It's not just like an overnight thing. So I'll get into, I remember there was some days back in May when it would just be me and the kids. And sometimes at the end of the day, I would feel so broken because I just feel irritated by them and angry at them. And then when I switched my thinking, when you switch the way you think and you switch your perspective, it's just 100%, it's such a life change. I started looking at them as like these huge blessings and like my people that I get to go through life with. So we have the introduction, and it pretty much says kind of what I just read from the back of the book. The task or the little homework, whatever it gives you for the first chapter says write a script confessing where you've fallen short. I said, sometimes I start to shut down. I don't want to answer my name being called. Severe sensory overload. I snap. I sometimes go back and forth with my oldest immaturely. So that was the first chapter, I guess, is kind of like getting it all out on the table. I think you have to be able to take accountability for your trouble spots. Like, parents that think that they really don't do anything wrong is alarming, because we all have room to get better and grow, and we should want to be the best versions of ourselves for children, because we're like shaping who they are, and we brought them into this world. Like, they didn't ask to be here. Okay, so chapter 2 was about when your child needs positive motivation. See, there's a theme for each chapter. I started highlighting. There's also like a verse or verses in each chapter. The one for this one was, therefore, encourage one another and build one another up just as you are doing. I remember sharing that with my daughters. So this is a reoccurring theme throughout the book, is the fruits of the Spirit. Whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable. If anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think of such things. So it goes through some different struggles. For example, chapter 3, during nap time and dinner time struggles. And it starts to get into a lot about planning and having a plan for all these different situations, which obviously we all know that usually when we make plans, things don't go as planned. For example, getting into routines. So I spent time in the workbook pages. I wrote a routine for breakfast. This was over summer break, by the way. Put 3 or so options on the table, call them out. They can eat with their cartoons every other day if behavior is up to par. And we did practice that for a while, where it'd be like, okay, today you get to eat your breakfast in front of the TV. I mean, some people might frown upon that, but I liked doing that growing up on the weekends, watching like Disney Channel and eating a bowl of cereal. So we decided every other day they could do that. We did this whole thing with creating quiet time rules. If not sleeping, you're having quiet time from 2:30 to 4:30. It did not always follow that time mark, but planning, it's really good to get to not just completely wing it and write some things down on paper and plan to an extent. And then the little note I made here on the side was leave room for grace. Anywhere you plan, like you create routines or make plans, you have to, it's essential that you leave room for grace, because we're dealing with children here. We're dealing with everyday life, which is imperfect and unpredictable at times. Oh yeah, this book talks so much about grace as well. And when you start to grasp what an incredible concept grace is, not just, us having grace towards our kids, but the grace that we receive in our everyday lives, it's like, it's immaculate. It's crazy, because where would we be without it? Some other themes are natural consequences, responsibility. It also gets into how, which I think this is an important thing to stress, that we as parents, we are parents, but we cannot control our kids. We can guide them and direct them. But at the end of the day, they are their own person, and they kind of need to know that. Letting your kids have a voice, give them the opportunity to appeal what you said. I mean, 31 chapters, it's hard to kind of put all 31 chapters into a video, but it touches on so many different subjects having to do with parenting, when siblings fight, bedtime battles. Until I finished the whole book, and now I'm telling all about it.
You finished the
Yeah,
whole
I finished my parenting book.
Oh my gosh. Are you gonna...
But yeah, it's really heavy on our reactions to things. So let's go. Okay, so jumping to chapter 26, it's about as they grow in independence. And I needed to hear this because when I read this, I realized that I hover too much on school mornings before school when we get ready. Or not even hover, but just like I feel the need to remind them about every little thing they need to do to get ready. And I realize that my 5 and especially 7-year-old are more than capable of getting ready for school on their own. If they're eating at home that day, I'm going to like get a breakfast out and stuff like that. But for like getting dressed, brushing teeth, like I realize like they can do that on their own. For example, the author says, for too long I got into the habit of doing every little thing for them instead of teaching them to help themselves, which I bet many moms out there can relate. God will never leave you hanging when you ask him for wisdom and discernment to know how far to extend those boundary lines or leave them on the track to finish their own race. One of the reasons we struggle to give our children the independence they both desire and need is because our fear and worry. So much stuff in this book is just very hard-hitting. It's like, oh wow. Or like relatable. So it talks about being a helicopter parent. You're like hovering over in the workbook pages. Write out your own script for when your child needs more independence that fits your family dynamic. So I went ahead and jotted down some things right there. Here are some of the things I put. I trust you to do this. I know you can. You can ask me for help, but I'm leaving it up to you. Just try. What's the worst that could happen? In chapter 27, it did make mention of fasting. It's talking about when you know evil is trying to sneak its way into your family, and it talks about praying over things, and it did make mention of fasting, which initially made me uncomfortable. Like that would be unhealthy on a personal level. Obviously, it's not for everybody, but at first I was like, At the end, it even has a chapter about co-parenting in a married relationship or not. Some of the examples that the authors give from their own lives seemed, how do I put it? Almost too good to be true at times. Like their child would be having a hard time with something or object to something, and they would like calmly say, do. The child would like take a deep breath and try again and try to not be disrespectful or something. And it's like, it's not a bad thing. Like, I'm not trying to come at it, but at the same time, I felt like, wait, we don't have the same kids, because mine sometimes are like, will go back and forth, yelling, screaming, name calling for like an hour. So, but that's probably from years of, parenting scripts that they finally get those good results. And then we have chapter 31, about speaking truth into your own heart. It really starts with you. You have to speak kindly on yourself, and you have to like flip the script. Instead of saying, I'm a horrible mom, I can't do this, say, I'm a good mom, I'm trying and I can do this, like I can get through this. So things like that, speaking positive affirmations, I guess, stuff like that. Like I said, like the internal script we give ourselves. It says, let me encourage us all to purposely make a plan to cultivate our thought life. One of the ways you can combat the darkness inside your heart and mind is replacing that "it's hard, this isn't fair" message with new words. I've got this because God's got me. Here on earth, we are promised the joy of reaping a harvest if we do not give up. We are promised the great joy of watching our children walk in the truth if we don't grow weary. If your thoughts hurt you, your words will hurt them. So plan your words to them by scripting the words you speak to yourself. Lots of food for thought. Honestly, this book is packed with content to uplift you, encourage you, and pinpoint the areas that might be pinpoint problem areas in different families' lives and how to combat them. I would definitely say it is worth the read. I would give it like 4.7 stars out of 5 or something like that. It's very helpful for parenting on a deeper level. So I'm gonna wrap it up there. Again, this is Parenting Scripts by Amber Leah and Wendy Speake. Also, there's an audio version of this, if you want to just listen to it when you're cleaning around the house or whatever. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this book review, make sure you subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Mwah, mwah, bye.